And we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we are now going to recap the late window games. The rest of them, obviously, we went over the Sunday night game to start off the show. So we'll go through the four other late window games. So we'll start off actually with the Steelers and the Rams. So I picked the Rams in this game. Just really don't trust the Steelers' offense. Obviously, their defense is what was going to keep them in this game. And the Steelers actually, ended up pulling out this win, 24-17 over the Rams, improving to now 4-2 on the season. Rams dropped to 3-4. Kenny Pickett was essentially a game manager in this game. 17-25, 230. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Najee Harris ran the ball for 53 yards and a touchdown. Jaylen Warren had a touchdown in this game as well. He ran the ball for 32 yards. George Pickens was their leading receiver, 5 receptions for 107. Deontay Johnson, he made his return from IR. He had 5 receptions for 79 yards. Steelers, they did what they were supposed to. Well, I don't even know what I was saying. I shouldn't say what they were supposed to do, but they did enough to, win the game here. Obviously, their defense forced turnovers. T.J. Watt had a pick in this game. Matthew Stafford really didn't have a good game here. 14 of 29 for 231. A touchdown and an interception. Royce Freeman ended up being their leading rusher. Darrell Henderson made his return to the Rams, obviously with the injuries. Karen Williams going on IR. They signed him back. So he had a touchdown in this game. So they ran the ball for 135 yards. Puka Nacua, he was their leading receiver, had 8 receptions for 154. Tutu Atwell had a touchdown in this game. And that was a 31-yard touchdown. And Cooper Kupp, Steelers did a great job. Cooper Kupp was really a non-factor in this game. 2 receptions for 29 yards. The interception by T.J. Watt, that set up the Steelers in this game. And that was right out of that was the start of the second half. And it was the first play, actually. Stafford was throwing a Kupp and T.J. Watt picked him off. And then Najee ran the ball. Pickett threw a pass to Najee again, and then he actually scored a rushing touchdown in this game. That was big for the Steelers coming out of the half. But, the big thing was late in the game, Steelers had the ball, and they went for it on 4th down. And it looked like Kenny Pickett was short of the line of game, but they gave him the first down, and that effectively ended the game. And the Rams didn't have a timeout, so they couldn't challenge. But, so the Steelers ended up getting a big win there. A lot of people really didn't expect them to win this game. And listen, I didn't really – I picked the Rams, but I didn't really like it. Steelers were getting the points in this game. Obviously, the Rams don't really have home field advantage, and Steelers fans are a fan base where they travel. And that was, that was a big thing in the game as well. The Rams just with Karen Williams being out, that definitely is going to hurt them. Obviously, the Steelers' defense, they stepped up. And, Stafford really didn't have a good game. They held Cooper Kupp down. So, that was a big win for the Steelers. Like I said, not a lot of people really gave them a shot in this game. And they're 4-2 right now. It's not a good 4-2, but it's 4-2. Because they definitely could have lost the game against the Browns. They could have lost against the Raiders. But, they get themselves back on got themselves a 2-game winning streak going, which is good. And their next game is going to be at home against Jacksonville. So they actually have 3 straight home games. They got one against Jacksonville, one against Tennessee, and then one against Green Bay. So every one of those games is winnable. So, so they improved to 4-2. Rams dropped to 3-4. And they play Dallas next week in Dallas. So that's going to be a tough game. So we'll see if the Rams can bounce back. So now we'll get into the Cardinals and the Seahawks. Seahawks winning that game 20-10. Geno Smith in this game, 18-24, 219, 2 touchdowns and a pick. He did throw a bad pick when the Seahawks were driving. Kenneth Walker had 26 carries for 105 yards. Jackson Smith and Jigba was their leading receiver. 4 receptions for 63 yards and a touchdown. So he gets his first NFL touchdown. And that's big because The Seahawks were missing DK Metcalf yesterday. Also, Geno Smith threw a touchdown to Jake Bobo. So that's where his 2 passing touchdowns were. And then Tyler Lockett, 4 receptions for 38 yards. Colby Parkinson had 2 for 26. Noah Fant, 1 for 25. But yeah, Seahawks won 20-10. Josh Dobbs, he had a rushing touchdown in this game. He's actually been pretty good, running the football. He's had a couple of those this year. But he really, through the air, didn't really do that much. Well, really anything. 19-33, 146 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. They ran the ball for 127 yards. Our DeMercado was their leading rusher for 48 yards. Dobbs had 43 yards rushing. The leading receiver was Marquise Brown. He had 3 for 49. Yeah, Cardinals really just couldn't get anything going offensively. And, they've been competitive in a lot of these games, but these last 4 games, it hasn't been good. And it's not going to get any easier because then they're home against the Ravens. Then they're at the Browns. So, yeah. And Kyler Murray actually started practicing, so we'll see what happens moving forward. But, lost season for the Cardinals. All right, so now we get to the other 2 games. So we'll touch upon the Packers and the Broncos. So Broncos get their 2nd win of the season. They improved to 2-5. Packers dropped to 2-4. Jordan Love just continues to not look good in recent weeks. Packers got shut out in the first half. They finally got it going in the second half. They scored 17 points. And they were driving. But a costly penalty knocked them back because they were getting into field goal range, knocked them back, and then Jordan Love just heaved up a pass that got picked. So pretty much the same ending as 2 weeks ago. But A.J. Dillon was their leading rusher. Aaron Jones made his return. Really wasn't a factor in this game. He had 8 carries for 35 yards and 3 receptions for 22 yards. Their leading receiver actually was A.J. Dillon, their number 2 running back. 2 receptions for 34 yards. That's not going to get it done. Romeo Dobbs, he had a touchdown in this game, and it was actually like a fight for the ball in the end zone, so that could have got picked off. But Dobbs was able to, grab it from the Broncos player and score the touchdown there. And then Jaden Reed caught a touchdown off of a deflection. So if you think about it, Jordan Love could very easily have no touchdowns, but, he kind of got bailed out on those plays. And then as for the Broncos, Russell Wilson really didn't do that much yesterday. 20-29, 194 yards, a touchdown, no picks. Javonte Williams was their leading rusher. He had 82 yards. Jason McLaughlin, he had 45 yards rushing. Broncos ran the ball for 145 yards in this game. So Packers' run defense, is still a problem. Cortland Sutton, he was their leading receiver, so he continues to have a decent year for the Broncos. 6 receptions for 76 yards and a touchdown. But yeah, Packers lose again. That's their 3rd loss in a row. I mean, this is a team that could very easily be 1-5. Like if they lost to the Saints, they'd be 1-5 right now. But yeah, Jordan Love has not looked good these last couple weeks, and I look at him and I think, he could be good, but he turns the ball over. The Packers' offense has just been horrible these last couple weeks. They just can't get anything going in the first half, and then they finally get it going, and they lose close games. And this is another one to a team that they should beat. But, yeah, has not looked good for the Packers. Broncos, they get a win, and next week they play Kansas City, so that's your reward for winning a game. And then speaking of Kansas City, the final late window game we'll recap here. So, they went up against the Chargers, and usually between these two teams, games are very close. And that was the case once again. It was a 1-score game, although Kansas City did tack on a touchdown in the 4th quarter, and that put them up by 2 scores. And actually, those were the only points that were scored in the second half, because this game looked like it was going to be like a 38-35 game, something like that, but. Only 7 points were scored in the second half, and that was by Kansas City. First quarter, at the end of the first quarter, was tied 3-3. Then the Chiefs outscored the Chargers 21-14 in the second quarter. Nobody scored in the third, and the Chiefs scored 7 in the fourth. Patrick Mahomes had a great game. He had I'm pretty sure he had over 300 yards at the end of the first half. He ended up finishing 32 of 42, 424, 4 touchdowns and a pick. Chiefs really didn't run the ball in this game that well. Isaiah Pacheco ended up being their leading rusher with 32 yards. Mahomes had a couple of runs in this game. The longest one was for 23 yards. Travis Kelce, National Tight Ends Day. I mean, he had a great game. 12 receptions for 179 yards and a touchdown. And, of course, Taylor Swift was in attendance because why wouldn't I mention that? Marquez Valdez-Scantling had a touchdown in this game, 3 for 84. Rashee Rice continues to be productive in recent weeks. 5 receptions for 60 yards and a touchdown. Pacheco had a receiving touchdown in this game as well. And I think that was the touchdown in the fourth quarter. And it was, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, the Chiefs, they've been looking good. And Justin Herbert had a little bit of a rough game. 2 picks in this game. Had a touchdown, 259 passing. Joshua Kelly actually ended up being their leading rusher in this game, 75 yards and a touchdown. He had that big, long touchdown run in the first half. That tied the game at 10. Austin Eckler, he had 45 yards rushing, so he really didn't do that much in this game. Joshua Palmer actually was their leading receiver. He had 5 receptions for 133 yards. Keenan Allen had 4 for 55, and Gerald Everett had 3 for 26, and he had a touchdown in this game. But yeah, Chargers, they dropped to 2-4. Chiefs look really good. The Chargers defense isn't, the best, obviously, but Chiefs are starting to get things going. Their defense looks good. I know Nick Bolton, he got injured in the game, so I don't know what his status is at the moment, but we'll know more during the week. The Chiefs defense looks really good. The offense got it going yesterday, so that was big. Obviously, they had Hardman on the team. He played. He had a kick return. Well, not for a touchdown, but like a long kick return or punt return, whatever it was, in the game. So, yeah, I mean, the Chiefs look good. I mean, they look like, right now, I would say they are the best team in the AFC, and there's no surprise there, obviously, because it just seems like it's always them every year. With the Bills losing, the Dolphins losing, Chiefs right now look like the best team in the AFC. Their defense is playing really well. And obviously, I would still like for them to go out and try to get another receiver. But you see Rashee Rice is continuing to produce, so that's good. Their rookie wide receiver. Valdez-Scantling had a good game. So Chiefs just continue to roll. And, we'll see what happens in a couple weeks when they play the Dolphins in Germany. I'm looking forward to that game. But yeah, and I think actually, who do they play next week? Are they they play the Broncos. That's right. Yep. I literally just said that too. I said Broncos. That's your prize. You're playing the Chiefs, but it's a home game for the Broncos. So I guess that at least that's good. You're at home, but yeah, it might be a rough game for the Broncos once again against the Chiefs. So with that, we are going to take our final break of the show, and then when we come back, we are going to preview tonight's game, the final game of Week 7, between the 49ers and the Vikings. So stick around, and we will be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.